Hi dear viewers and subscribers, welcome to Science Bug by Poonam Singh. Today we are going live and this is my first live session on Science Bug. So welcome you all. You know the topic, that today's topic is autotrophic nutrition. I've already told you about all this in my previous classes. You can see my previous videos, lectures. So today mainly we'll be doing autotrophic nutrition, and I'll be giving you a brief introduction, and then we'll be solving the questions of the NCERT book and other reference books. So children, today's session is not going to be very long, but we'll try to complete what I've told you. And this video, if you are unable to see the live session, you can always watch this video on the on patreon.com. It will be uploaded soon in the patreon.com. So let's begin, children. Nutrition. What is nutrition? Nutrition, children, as you all know, it's the way of obtaining food by an organism and how it is absorbed inside the body. So the details you can know from my previous videos. So nutrition is the way, the method, or how an organism procures its food. That is the intake of food and how it is absorbed inside the body. That is nutrition. Now nutrition can be two types, autotrophic and heterotrophic. So today we are focusing on autotrophic. Auto means self and trophy means nutrition or feeding. So it means self-feeding. That is making food on its own inside their own body. And heterotrophic, hetero means others, and trophy, as you all know now, it means nutrition. So that is, heterotrophic is the nutrition that is obtained from other organisms. Nutrition that is obtained from other organisms. So we are not going into the details of this. So the examples of heterotrophic are all the animals, including human, and plants, certain plants also, like cuscuta. This I have already told in detail in my previous classes. So now we will be focusing on autotrophic. And so what is autotrophic nutrition, children? Autotrophic nutrition means preparing food on its own inside own body. So what do you think? What are the examples? Who does that? Which organism does that? It's the green plants and some bacteria which are known as autotrophic bacteria and algae. Children, algae is a new term, but you will learn later on in your higher classes that these are also plants and they're green algae. So green plants mainly, you know that the earth is full of something like a major part of the land of the earth is forest area or the plantation. So all these green plants, they perform autotrophic nutrition. And how do they perform? Through a process known as photosynthesis. So what exactly do they do? What do the green plants do? The green plants, they take carbon dioxide and water from the environment. Water they take from the roots. The roots pull up the water from the soil, from the ground, and take it up the stem and to the leaves. So water is taken from the ground by the roots, and carbon dioxide is taken from the atmosphere. So, with the help of, and these children, carbon dioxide and water are inorganic substances. Inorganic substances means those which are not organic. What are organic substances? Organic substances are those which contain carbon and hydrogen, whose compounds or molecule whose compounds contain carbon and hydrogen. Whereas the inorganic substances are those which may contain one, like they may contain carbon or they may contain hydrogen, but they don't contain both the things, or they may not contain any. So to be organic, the compound should contain carbon as well as hydrogen. So the compounds which do not contain carbon and hydrogen are inorganic. So from the inorganic substances, from the inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water. Water is taken by the roots in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. The green plants prepare their own food, and that food, is in which form? It is in the form of glucose. Food is prepared in the form of glucose. So from the inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, the green plants prepare their own food. And this process is known as photosynthesis. Now, children, I think I have told you in my previous classes that what is chlorophyll, where are they present, and let us just revise it again. That is the site or location. What is the site or location of photosynthesis? Where does photosynthesis take place? Photosynthesis takes place in the leaves, children, in the leaves. And what is there in the leaves which absorbs the sunlight energy? It is the chlorophyll, the green pigment chlorophyll. It is the chlorophyll, which is the green pigment. So this green pigment, which is known as chlorophyll, absorbs the sunlight energy and converts it into the food, the chemical energy, which is the food glucose. And this chlorophyll is present in cell organelles known as chloroplasts. This chlorophyll pigment is present in cell organelles known as chloroplasts. This I have already told you in detail in my previous lectures. So these chloroplasts are present, I told you, in special cells below the upper epidermis and above the lower epidermis. In between there is a layer of mesophyll cells, the palisade cells and the spongy mesophyll. In those mesophyll cells, chloroplasts, there are cell organelles known as chloroplasts which contain the green pigment chlorophyll. And chlorophyll absorbs the sunlight energy and helps in photosynthesis. Now how it helps, that we will discuss here. And let me also tell you that you know about the guard cells and the stomata. So the stomata are guarded, or they are surrounded by guard cells. Each stomata is surrounded by 2 guard cells, and these guard cells also contain the chloroplast. So this is about the site. So now how this chlorophyll is used and sunlight is used, what is the process of, what is the mechanism of photosynthesis. Children, there are 3 steps for this, for photosynthesis. For the mechanism, to understand the mechanism of photosynthesis, we'll have to understand 3 steps. It takes place in 3 steps. First is the absorption of sunlight energy, by the chlorophyll. I'm writing CH only, CHLO for chlorophyll, by the chlorophyll molecule. First step is absorption of sunlight energy by the chlorophyll molecule, which is present in the leaves, green leaves. So what happens is, when the chlorophyll molecule absorbs sunlight energy, this chlorophyll molecule gets activated. The chlorophyll molecule gets activated. Now this activated chlorophyll molecule splits. It splits the water. It splits the water into hydrogen and oxygen ions. Alright? You know that for photosynthesis we need carbon dioxide and hydrogen. So we need carbon dioxide and water. So this water, when the chlorophyll molecule gets activated by the sunlight energy, it splits this water molecule into hydrogen ions and oxygen ions. Now this hydrogen ion helps in the reduction of carbon dioxide, and this is how you get glucose, whose formula is C6H12O6. Alright? Did you understand the last step? The hydrogen ions help in the reduction of this carbon dioxide, which was also taken in. So these hydrogen ions helps in the reduction of carbon dioxide to give you the glucose, that is food is prepared. You know, when hydrogen ion is added to any molecule, the molecule, it's called reduction. That process is called reduction. So here carbon dioxide is gaining a hydrogen molecule. So so carbon dioxide gets reduced to glucose. It becomes C6H12O6, which is glucose, which is the food which is prepared in the process of photosynthesis. So this is all about the autotrophic nutrition. Now let us quickly do the question and answers from the NCERT book. Children, this is on page 113. If you have the book with you, please open page 113 so that you can see the questions there. Question number 2 and 3 are MCQs. Let's do them quickly. Question number 2 is, the xylem in plants are responsible for number 1, transport of water and transport of food, transport of amino acids, or transport of oxygen. Children, about the structure of xylem and phloem you have studied in your class 9. But here also, when I was telling you about the structure of the leaf, the cross section of the leaf, there I had told you that I had mentioned xylem and phloem. I had told you that there is the midrib in the leaf. In the midrib, in the cross section of that midrib, you find the xylem and the phloem. Together they are known as vascular bundles. So, and they have specific function which you have done in your class 9, but I'm repeating it, and it's repeated here also. So what do you think? Can you answer this question? The xylem in the plants are responsible for transport of water. So A is correct. Third question. The autotrophic mode of nutrition requires carbon dioxide and water, chlorophyll, sunlight, all the above. This is quite simple. Autotrophic mode of nutrition means photosynthesis by the green plants. So they require all these things. So all the above, the option D is correct. Now question number 7. What are the necessary conditions for autotrophic nutrition and what are its byproducts? Children, you know the conditions necessary for autotrophic nutrition are carbon dioxide, water, chlorophyll and sunlight. And what are the byproducts? The byproducts are glucose, water and oxygen. And children, let me also tell you that this glucose is produced in the leaf. It's made in the, it's manufactured, it's synthesized in the leaf by the process of photosynthesis. And this glucose is converted into starch. I had told you in my previous videos that the food which is not used immediately is stored in the form of starch. And this starch, so the unused food you can say, or the unutilized food is stored in the form of starch in leaves. This is just by the way, just because glucose byproduct had come here. So I was telling you that it is glucose which is manufactured, but the unutilized food is stored in the form of starch in the leaves. Now question number 12. What are the differences between the transport of materials in xylem and phloem? Children, this question I have taken up because it's important and you need to know about it. Children, I don't have, can I rub this and I'll tell you about it, or I think I can rub this because it's already done here. So children, what are the differences between the transport of materials in xylem and phloem? Now, if we consider xylem here, xylem and phloem both transport certain things, you know that. Xylem transports water and phloem transports the food materials. This transports water and minerals also, children. Minerals. And the phloem transports the food, which is, you know, is the glucose. So what is the difference in the transporting of these things? How do they differ in transporting the things? The first point is that the water is transported from root to the stem and leaves, right? Water is transported from root to stem and leaves, whereas the food is carried or transported. Food is transported from leaves to different parts of the plant, So it differs. Here from root to stem to leaves it's going, and there from leaves it's going to different parts. So this is the difference in the transportation. Now from this you can mention that this transport is unidirectional. It is unidirectional, yeah, you can say that. Unidirectional means that it is from the roots, it's going up the stem and then to the leaves. So it's one way. And whereas the food is bidirectional. Bidirectional. Bidirectional means, children, like this is the stem, these are the roots, and this is a leaf, for example. So the food which is prepared in the leaf is carried upwards as well as downwards. Even to the roots the food is carried. So to the above parts and the bottom parts. So it is both ways, all over the food is carried from the leaves. So this is the difference in their transportation. Then you know in the structure there are differences. This xylem is composed of cells known as vessels and tracheids. Vessels and tracheids plus the xylem fibers and parenchyma. Xylem fibers and parenchyma. These help in the transport. Xylem is supposed to be a dead tissue because these vessel elements, these are dead in nature, composed of dead cells. So the xylem is composed of the vessel elements and tracheids and xylem fibers and the parenchyma, xylem parenchyma. And this phloem is composed of the sieve tubes, the sieve tube elements, and the companion cells, and the phloem fibers and parenchyma. So they are composed of different types. The xylem is supposed to be a dead tissue, whereas the phloem is a living tissue. Then fourth is that the transport of water in the xylem is facilitated by transpiration. Transpiration pull, you can say. Something has to be there which should pull the water upwards. The water is going from roots to top. So it should be pulled against the gravity. So it is pulled by the transpiration process. Transpiration, you understand, the loss of water from the leaves. You will learn later. So the transpiration pull helps in the transport of water from root to the top, to the aerial parts in the xylem tissue. Whereas in the case of phloem, this transport of food in the phloem requires energy, that is energy molecules which you know are called as ATP. So these are the four differences in the transport which is carried out by xylem and transport which is carried out by phloem. So this is an important question, so I took it up. Now I am doing certain questions from another reference book. These were from the NCERT, and Let's do it quickly. I hope the board is visible. Some of the questions are written here. Name the process by which plants leave the first question is, name the process by which plants oblique leaves prepare or make or synthesize food. These synonyms I have added on my own so that you don't get confused if any of this term is used in the question. They all mean the same. Whether you write prepare, make or synthesize, they all mean the same. So name the process by which plants prepare their own food. That process is called, I hope you all know by now, it's called photosynthesis. It's called photosynthesis. And name the pigment in leaves that absorbs sunlight energy. Name the pigment in leaves that absorbs sunlight energy. Which is that pigment, children? It is the pigment known as chlorophyll. It is the pigment known as chlorophyll. What is the color of the pigment, children? And in which cell organelle it is present? The color of the pigment is green, and this green pigment called chlorophyll is present in the cell organelle. Which is that cell organelle? Yes, chloroplast. The cell organelle is chloroplast. Now write the chemical equation for photosynthesis. Children, I have told you that this photosynthesis is a process where the food is prepared from inorganic materials like carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So it's a chemical reaction which we need to know. A chemical compound is being formed, which is the glucose. So there's a chemical equation for this, which you must know. So the equation is like this. What are the raw materials for photosynthesis? These are carbon dioxide and water, right? And in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, what is prepared? Glucose, whose chemical formula is C6H12O6. You must be familiar with such formulae. You must have done them in your chemistry classes. Then what else is the byproduct? Water and oxygen. Now if you balance this equation, it will be 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives a molecule of glucose. This is glucose molecule. It will give you 6H plus 6H2O plus 6O2. So this equation is very important and you need to know it. And you need to know the details of this. Now next question. What are the conditions which are necessary for photosynthesis? So now you can tell, seeing the equation, what are the conditions necessary for photosynthesis? The conditions necessary for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. These are the 4 conditions which are necessary for photosynthesis to take place in green plants. Now name a gas used in photosynthesis. Which gas is being used in the case of photosynthesis? This gas is being used, and which is this gas? This is carbon dioxide. I hope you know how to spell it. It is carbon dioxide. CO2 is the formula. And name a gas produced in photosynthesis. This is the gas which is being produced. Which is this gas? Can you name it? It is oxygen. This gas is oxygen. That is O2 is the formula. So, using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, glucose is produced, which is the food which is made in the leaves, and the byproducts are this water and oxygen, and this is a usable product. So this is all about today's class. I also wanted to tell you that glucose, it's a carbohydrate. Glucose and starches together are known as carbohydrates. I've told you in my previous classes. So this is how the plant is getting all the carbohydrates from the process of photosynthesis. But how do they get protein? How their protein requirement is settled? The plants require protein. Protein is made up of amino acids which are made up of nitrogen, which contain the element nitrogen. So protein is basically made up of nitrogen compounds. So children, where does this plant get nitrogen from? The nitrogen which is artificially you added in the manure, the nitrogenous fertilizers are used in the fields, so that is an artificial way, but that will be costly and that won't be so useful also to the plant. So what is the natural way of getting nitrogen by the plants? See children, there is nitrogen, 78% nitrogen is there in the atmosphere. So the plant uses that atmospheric nitrogen. But how? Children, this atmospheric nitrogen gas is taken up by some bacteria which are there in the soil, right? The nitrogen gas which is in the atmosphere or the air is taken up by some bacteria which are known as nitrogen fixing bacteria, which are present in the soil, and they convert this nitrogen gas into ammonia, and ammonia is then converted into nitrites and nitrates by nitrifying bacteria. Okay, the nitrogen fixing bacteria fix the atmospheric nitrogen, convert it into ammonia, and this ammonia is converted into nitrites and nitrates by the nitrifying bacteria. These are different set of bacteria. The nitrifying bacteria are different and the nitrogen fixing bacteria are different, and actually these nitrogen fixing bacteria, when they take up the nitrogen gas, they form nodules in the root. They form nodules in the root, and there the ammonia is produced, nitrates and nitrites are produced, and these three substances, that is ammonia, nitrites and nitrates, are the usable forms of protein or nitrogen, whatever you say. So this is how the plant gets its protein. And children, that's all for now. Hope you must have gained a lot from this session, and if you have any queries still further, you can always write in the comment box. Thank you so much. Please do watch this video. If you have missed it out, on patreon.com, it will be available there. So bye bye for now. Thank you.